Hey, friends, I'm Otis Gibbs. My buddy Kenny Vaughan is about to tell you a great story about touring with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
I was playing with Lucinda Williams, and we were opening, it was late 90s, we were opening for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers on a tour. And it lasted maybe 32 or 34, 35 days, 30 performances, 35 dates. And it was fabulous. I mean, their crew was great to us. They treated us like gold. Tom was a big fan of Lucinda's, and so was Mike. And they covered one of her songs, you know, on record, you know, before this tour happened. And, you know, it was like all big arena rock tours, being the opening act is sort of not so exciting because most of the audience isn't even seated yet when you're playing your little 25-minute set, you know, or 30-minute set or whatever it is. And even more of those people don't know who you are, you know, never heard of Lucinda Williams. And so, you know, that part was okay, but those guys, I got to know those guys, and, you know, they're Florida hippies. And the first thing I really kind of realized about them is they never saw themselves as belonging to any scene. They see themselves, even at their most popular, they saw themselves as being outsiders in everywhere in this world. They were outsiders. It was them against the world. They had their own thing, and they didn't fit in with anybody. And that was really the way they were, you know. Tom especially, he was really a closely guarded, kind of private, quiet, shy outsider. You know, he never really got over that. He never really was a, hey, how you doing, celebrity kind of guy. You know, he was, you know, in his dressing room or in Mike's dressing room, just the two of them. They were just kind of apart, you know. And somehow they mostly would stand backstage and watch us play every night, and for whatever reason they were very friendly with me, and we got to talking guitars a lot, and they would invite me into the dressing room a lot, Mike and Tom, and maybe they'd have a couple of guitars in there, and they'd show me stuff, and, you know, we just sit around and kind of not just talk about stuff, you know, like not really anything too exciting, but guitar stuff, you know, just like, yeah, man, those pickups on that model of that year are really good, you know. Yeah, man, you look at this one, man. Oh, man, that's nice, you know, all these vintage guitars and acoustic and electric. And I got to be kind of pals with them, you know, just for that tour. They were, you know, we just would hang around. And I remember we were in the Hamptons in Long Island. And I was really excited about being there because I'm a kind of a foodie. And I was like, man, we were at this nice hotel, and there was all these fabulous restaurants on the, you know, like within walking distance. And I was like, I got the night off, man. I'm going to go find a good restaurant, have a good glass of wine, and sit and have a nice meal and really enjoy myself, you know. And I took a shower, you know, and I was laying on my bed. It's about 6:30. I'm laying on my bed, and my hotel phone rings, you know. Right? Hey, this is Tom. What you doing, man? I said, I don't know, man. Just laying here. Listen, I got the guys to pull the buses around back, and we got a grill out there. We're going to grill some hot dogs and hamburgers and just hang out, you know, maybe play a little, just hang out by ourselves back there in the back, you know. And I'd like you to come on down and hang out with us and have a burger with us. I was like, I'll be there. You know, there went my fabulous meal. You know, I was gonna eat potato chips, drink beer, and eat a hamburger. You know, but I was glad to do that. You know, and that was the only time that we had a social outside of the gig situation, was that one night in the Hamptons. It was a beautiful summer evening. They had a big boom box there, which was playing like Jimmy Reed and old Rolling Stones, you know, like Brian Jones era 60s Stones, and you know, Slim Harpo, Howlin' Wolf, that kind of stuff. And that's what was on the just like a continuous reel of cool songs on the thing, and we would just sit and listen and smoke weed, drink beer, eat hamburgers, and talk about music. And sitting back in folding lawn chairs. It was the nicest, mellowest evening, and nobody was getting rowdy. Those guys weren't big drinkers or anything, they were lightweights, and they're just there, just smoking a little weed, having a good time.
That's a pretty good way to go through life.
Yeah, they were really nice. The last time I saw them, they invited me to come down and see them at the Bridgestone, and this friend of mine from Kentucky was in town, and his son had recently been killed in an auto accident, and he's divorced, and they gave me 2 tickets, and my wife was out of town, and so I called him up and said, "Hey man, you're in town tonight. You want to go see Tom Petty?" He said, "Yeah, sure." And he's a guitar maker, right? He makes like really nice copies of Stratocasters and Telecasters, really nice. His name's Charles Whitfield, great guitarist. Do you think we can meet Tom and Mike? And I said, "I don't know, dude." He said, "Can I bring one of my guitars to show him?" I said, "No, you can't." I said, "They don't want to see your guitar, dude." I'm sorry. They've had a million people try to give them guitars, but they don't want anything to do with that. He's like, "Okay." So we went to dinner and went over there, and Stevie Winwood was the opening act, and that was pretty good, so about halfway through the set, I said, we got these backstage passes, let's go up to the green room and get something good to drink, because they had this like separate sort of green room for, journalists and people in town that know somebody and the crew and the band, it's like, you can't get back to the real backstage. You're just in this sort of kind of pretend backstage, but it's always fully stocked. I know how their thing works. And we went up there, and sure enough, fabulous drinks and, everything you need, and we got ourselves something to eat and a snack and had a beer, and we were about ready to go back downstairs to listen to the rest of Winwood's set, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder. It was Ron Blair, their old bass player, who was back in the band. And he said, "Hey man, come back with me," and so I said, "Come on, Charles." And we go back, and he opens this door to a dressing room, and we walked in. It was Tom and Mike sitting there by themselves, just the two of them. And my friend is, mute, speechless, I was like, "This is my friend Charles. He makes guitars." And, I said, "Sit down, man. How you doing, man?" And they're both just sitting there, and we talked to him for about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, and first thing Tom says, "Have you heard Lucinda's new album?" I said, "Yeah, I have." And he says, "Man, it's really good, man. It's the only thing I've heard for a while. It's worth a shit." I said, "Yeah, it's really good." Right there, that's first thing he says, I was like, "That's pretty cool." And we just shot the shit for a while. "How's Marty?" Marty knows those guys from the Rick Rubin sessions, that Johnny Cash stuff, so he knew them from that, they were fans of our band, Well, I'm a huge fan of Tom Petty and the way he progressed as an artist and how he handled everything and the way he ended up, as far as his music goes. He's a great songwriter and a great, craftsman, and just, he always was serious about his stuff, to a fault, probably. I think he put his songs and his art above everything else in his life. I know he did, I know he did. And that's why we have those great songs to listen to, because he cared more than most artists do. He invested more of himself into his songs than most people do. And it was, It was their little band against the world to the day they died. To the day he died, it was, And Mike's kind of carried it on a little bit. I don't know if you've seen any of his YouTube videos. He when Mike went out with Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks has a guy named Steve Rial, who is a great singer, and he's been her vocal coach for years, and he goes on the tour, and he warms Stevie up every day. And Steve took Mike under his wing and said, "Come on, son, let's work on your voice here." And he turned Mike into a great singer. I mean, and Mike will tell you, that he did, but he's singing his ass off now, man. He sounds so good. I can't believe it. He's just killing me with his singing, It's really good. And I was just so impressed, And that was because of that, he's fortunate to be in day to day hanging with Steve Rial and have that kind of guy working you every day, And like Steve's really good. He's a great vocal coach and a great singer.
If you enjoyed this and you want to see more things like it, click like on this video and subscribe to my channel. Tell me what your favorite Tom Petty song is, and I'll see you somewhere down the road. Much love to you.